Welcome to Sustainability Now, where we ask you to think globally but act locally. I'm Barbara Buffaloe, the Sustainability Manager for the City of Columbia, and today we're going to talk about green parenting, or just more sustainable family lifestyles. My guest today is Emma O'Connell with pickapepper.com and Redbuds Farm out of Rocheport. Hi, Emma.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah? Okay, so I asked you to come on because I know that you are raising two little ones in our community.
Mm-hmm.
What are your children's names and ages?
I have Avery, who just turned 3, and then Lula, who is 1.5.
Very awesome, very nice. Now, what are some of the things that, family values that you're trying to instill in your children?
Well, I guess one of the large ones is teaching them sustainability through actions that we as a family do together.
Right.
Gardening, being outside, eating healthy, and things like that.
Yeah. So, well, when you talk about being outside or the gardening aspect of it, are they really much help for the gardening?
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Actually, they are. I mean, they can't do a lot of things, but they can definitely do some small tasks.
Right.
You know, they like to dig holes and spray with the hose and drag sticks around and, things like that. And they might not really be helping per se, but they are learning, and that's important too. And,
right.
And eventually maybe they'll really be able to help.
Well, and you're small child labor.
Right, yeah.
No, I think that's one of the ones, I've spoken before with Jan Weaver at the University of Missouri, and she, with her environmental studies, they get really big in environmental education, and they have all of these fact sheets and about how important it is for this age group just to be outside. Just just get their hands in the dirt.
Definitely, and just, to sort of have creative, imaginary, games, and not lots of battery-operated toys and things like that. So, for example, my 3-year-old is probably happier playing with sticks, dirt, and sand, than
playing a video game of some sort or whatever.
Definitely.
Well, and I think that's one of the things we talk about. You become to have more of an appreciation for nature if you're in it more.
Right.
As a child, if I got to play in my backyard or play in the streams near my house, then I became to have more of appreciation for it. I don't know if it was my parents' goal, or if it was just kind of the end result was that I also now have an appreciation for it and work to protect it, work not to, to have a negative impact.
Definitely. I think that just being aware of your environment and, how things grow and, the changing of the seasons and, just being outside and seeing all these things makes you appreciate your environment and hopefully do a good job taking care of it as well.
That's a good, the appreciation makes you really value what it is, which then in turn makes you a good community member.
Right,
I'd rather have people that appreciate what it is that we work hard at rather than somebody that's just squatting.
Right.
Just staying here, just hanging out in Columbia.
Yeah. And the kids, they love working out in the garden. They, if I ask them if they want to come help me, they're all for it for sure. Like you said, they might not really be much help, but they're learning how to help, and that's the only way for them to learn how is to
learn by doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So now, when you guys aren't playing outside or gardening in the area, what are some of the other activities that you guys?
Well, we like to go for lots of hikes. I guess that's outside too, but we try to always, at least, even if it's freezing cold, get outside every day and. Even if it's for 5 minutes,
right?
Just being aware that it's cold outside is part of it. But otherwise, we spend time at the library.
Oh yes, my daughter loves the library.
Yeah, we use the Daniel Boone Library all the time, and we check out tons of books and movies and everything.
I think the cool thing about the library, when we talk about that and have a great community resource, is that kind of comes back to the idea of less stuff.
Yes.
So the books have already been printed and purchased,
Yeah.
and they're at the library. And your children, because kids don't always have the longest attention span. So,
Oh, yeah. And I don't always like to read the same book over
right,
and over.
right. So, you know, you can go to the library, and it's kind of like going to a whole store, and you can have anything you want, and it's
Yeah.
free.
It's awesome, and it's a really sustainable practice as well. I mean, you're not buying new things.
Right.
You're you're reusing, you know, multiple times the same. Granted, some of the books at the library are a little ripped, and some of the movies might not be perfect.
Play as well.
But it, you know, for a 3-year-old, it doesn't matter anyways.
Right.
And
right.
and it's just the experience of going to the library that they probably love more than anything too.
Oh yeah, there's tons of things to play with there. It's like a whole
Yeah.
different playroom.
Yes.
For them to hang out in, and also you get to see a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because not everybody that's at the library is there to get a children's book.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
Most likely.
And they have story time, and they sing songs, and it's just a really good
Yeah.
community resource.
Yeah. Well, and it's cool too, kind of like when you say to get to see, go to the different story time and whatever. Somebody else, there's always different people there, so your kids are getting to interact with other people, which is awesome.
Yep, definitely.
Not just you.
Definitely.
Not just having to do that. Yeah, it's hard when we talk about, you know, sustainable parenting or green parenting, like you never want it to sound like, oh yeah, everything I do is perfect, you know, and everything that's right.
Yeah.
I think every parent can agree it's learning every day, and every day is different.
Yep, and I think a lot of it is leading by example and just trying to show your kids that they don't need a lot of stuff, and that, you know, that they can create their own games by playing outside and, you know, using their imagination and
yeah. No, I think that's a good one. In the whole leading by example, like if you are outside gardening, or if you're outside experiencing nature and showing that you have
appreciation for it,
Yeah.
and you care about it,
right, then they will also hopefully follow in that direction.
Yeah.
So one of the other things we had talked about before we came on was when we were talking about less stuff, that there are also community resources for if people want to borrow toys.
Yep.
So you can borrow library books,
Yep.
obviously, from the library. And what was
And
the
then
other?
we also use the Lind and Learn Library, which there's 2 locations, one on Fay Street and one on Park Street. And those are places where you can take your kids to play with toys there, and there's lots of other kids there too, but you can also borrow toys, which is nice.
Cool.
So there's toys, books, puzzles, costumes, blocks,
Very cool.
all kinds of stuff, actually.
Yeah, and you can just borrow them and you just bring them back the next time you come.
It's free. Anyone living in Boone County can use the library, the Lind and Learn Library, and you get to borrow them for a month. And yeah, you just bring everything back.
Very cool.
They
It's especially good because, you know, as kids develop, how they develop, it changes so quick that sometimes a toy that was really popular is no longer popular, and what do you do with it? I mean,
you can donate it to them too.
I was going to ask for that too.
Yeah, I just took a bunch of books there the other day that, that my kids had outgrown or that I was sick of reading.
Right.
And so yeah, you can donate stuff there too, which is, I think, they'll not only will they add it to their library, but they will also give stuff to families in need.
Oh,
which
that's
is
great.
really nice. Yeah,
That's a great resource.
Yeah, so you can donate clothes there. You can donate books, toys.
Yeah.
All kinds of diapers, anything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Very cool. And I know too with that, like some of the other things we talk about is like, I always encourage people like to check out on Craigslist or garage sales or any of the resale shops.
Definitely. I mean,
those.
one of the things, one of the keys to being more sustainable and living more sustainably is to have less stuff,
Yeah.
And to try not to buy new stuff if you can avoid it.
Right.
Which that is a perfect example of using toys from the Lind and Learn Library, the library, also from hand-me-downs from friends and Craigslist and thrift stores and anything.
The nice thing too about either from your friends or from like the garage sales and stuff is that you can get things that might have not even been worn.
Right.
Because kids grow so fast or play with things so fast, they might just get done with it.
I feel like all my friends really pass on nice things, and I pass on really dirty, stained, bad things. But so maybe it's not.
They'll just turn into play clothes for the next family.
Right.
It's okay.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. But it's a good way to cut down on buying new things.
Right.
And to to also teach your kids that, you know, they can get lots of cool toys from their friends. And we also swap toys with our friends. We try to borrow, and you know, it kind of,
it's kind of new.
It's new, but it also sort of, I think it instills sort of a, you know, a good value in the kid too, to you know, learn sharing, and also that, you know, they can borrow stuff from their friends, and that it's fun, and they can let their friends borrow things. And you know.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. So something else that you did with your children that we're also doing with my daughter is you did cloth diapers. So what was your reason? Like, what was the main reason that you decided to do cloth diapers?
Well, I think the main reason was just that it's a more environmentally friendly thing to do than using disposable diapers, where you're just throwing them in the trash. With cloth diapers, you're reusing them.
Right.
Hundreds, probably thousands of times.
Right.
I mean, I've had 2 kids, so my diapers have been used through 2 kids, and some of those I'd even had from friends, and they'd been passed down or had purchased used. So, you know, who knows? And then after the diapers are done, you can use them as rags. They make the best rags in the world too.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, no, that's very true. We decided, so when we did ours, you know, we were kind of nervous about, well, there were 2 things. One, I had seen something that there was actually just as much waste in a cloth diaper because of the water to wash them.
Yeah.
But that's just not true. I mean, yes, you wash them.
I think that, I mean, yeah, you wash them, but with kids, you're washing more laundry in general. I think. I don't know. I don't think that could possibly be true. I mean, that might just be a statistic put out by the
disposable diaper.
Yeah, because that's a really big industry. And
right. Well, in the disposable diapers, I mean, there's different things for them, but a big one is the cost too.
The cost is a lot less.
Yeah. So with a disposable diaper, if you're purchasing, I mean, you would purchase like a pack like every week, whereas with your cloth diapers, you purchase them kind of at the beginning and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, you never have to do it again.
Depending on what kind of diaper you get, you might need some different sizes, and you know, there's so many different kinds of cloth diapers out there now. There's a ton of different stuff.
Well, no, I actually brought in a couple, and I have no idea if anyone's interested in seeing them. But we really liked the ones.
As long as they're clean. Well,
I know we brought clean diapers in. Well, the ones that we did made it almost like as easy as a disposable, the way that they go together, because they have the Velcro that just Velcros over it, just like a disposable. And so it's, I mean, it's just as easy.
Yeah, they're super easy, and once you get used to it, it's just part of it, you know. It's easy. It's, you know, you just get used to.
Plus, they're really cute prints.
They are. They look cute, and they have little granny butts.
I know. They really do. That's the one thing is that she kind of has to wear a size up in pants.
Yes.
Because
I know.
the diapers add a lot of bulk.
They don't make clothes that fit
cloth diapers as well.
Diapers anymore.
Right.
No.
Well, the one thing I liked about it too is that you can just, you know, keep reusing the things and just wash the inside. It's really easy to get out and put in and throw. And then we also have, people always asked about like the waste for it. Like, well, what do you do with them? You know, do you just throw it in your regular laundry basket? So we just do, like we do the bags or whatever that kind of have a waterproof lining to them so that it's kind of protected in there. And I don't know, they're just
So you
really
put you store your dirty diapers in here?
So we'll put our wet diapers in here, and then this one's kind of our smaller travel bag. So we'll put the clean diapers in the outside, so when we're going someplace, and then put the dirty ones inside.
I have a very less sophisticated system. I just use like a plastic shopping bag for my wet diapers, and
we did this because it happens when you are getting things for your new baby.
Yeah.
People like to give you stuff.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
And so it's really nice to register for things that are at least reusable and sustainable.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was really handy, and it's actually, I think the thing that shows how easy cloth diapering can be is if the husbands or the fathers sign up for it, and
and
totally it's way easy, and they like saving money.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
I would say Luke's all for it.
Yeah, we use like 5-gallon buckets that we store our dirty diapers in.
Yeah.
And usually we fill 2 5-gallon, you know, like old pickle buckets or whatever you can get.
Right.
You can get those for free from restaurants.
Yeah.
And by about 2 bucket full, then we're ready to wash them.
Yeah.
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 And I mean, I'm sure that it uses a lot of water in the end, but I think that it's still more
I think
environmentally friendly.
Well, I think it is. If you take the trade-off for the resources that go into developing and creating a disposable diaper,
Right.
and then also the fact that they really don't biodegrade, so they're in the landfill and
So
just taking up lots of
250
space.
to 500 years.
Right, right, and we don't know because it hasn't been there. They haven't gone yet.
Yeah, they're still there.
Right, right.
And who wants to go find out anyway?
Who wants to go count at the landfill? No, maybe not.
Yeah. And
well,
if you are going to use disposable diapers, then there are some good, and they're becoming more affordable, biodegradable disposable diapers.
right.
And sometimes, you know, I always like friends that use them, and myself even, I use a combination. Like sometimes if we're going on a trip or something, you know, you can use disposable diapers.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world.
Right.
But maybe just choose, you know, there's 7th generation and Full Circle, and there's some other cheaper ones now too.
Right. Well, and the important thing there is that, like for those who do, that can't. I mean, you know, that don't have as many of the resources and stuff, that there are options out there that are better, that are more sustainable. Yeah,
for sure.
And that kind of goes back to the not saying like, well, this is what you're supposed to do and this is what I'm doing or whatever.
And one of the other things about cloth diapers is that they're way better for your baby's skin. Disposable diapers have all kinds of things,
chemicals in them.
Yeah, things that you just don't want, that can give a really bad diaper rash.
Right.
There's all kinds of weird gels in there. I mean, how can a baby wear the same diaper all day long? You know?
Yeah.
It's and they've got plastic, so they're not breathable, and they're just not good.
Lots of health issues.
And kids that wear cloth diapers tend to become potty trained sooner too, and I think that probably a lot of that has to do with the parents, you know, motivation, you know, behind it.
Right.
Like not wanting to necessarily keep washing diapers for forever.
Okay, now shifting to more of like, you know, earlier in the day of this.
Yeah.
So a big focus that you have for your family too is on healthy eating.
Yeah.
And for doing for your kids. So you have a farm.
I can't say that my kids are the healthiest eaters.
No, and I think it's fair to say that all kids are very picky and all would like pizza all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do have friends that their kids are healthy eaters. And I think it's important to always introduce things and try again.
Right.
Because, you know, eventually they might like them.
Yeah.
But
what are some other things that you guys do? So do you grow a lot of the food you guys eat?
We do. We try. Yeah, we do. Like even in the winter, I have spinach going right now, and I've got radishes coming up, and we've got lettuce, and I always have sprouts going, and you know, stuff like that. And then in the summer we have a market garden, and so yeah, we do. And they, you know, they're fascinated by it, but I pull up a carrot and say, hey, do you want to eat this? And like, yeah. And then I hand it to them to eat. They won't eat it, you know. So, you know, but
constantly, like you say, offering.
They see where their food is coming from, and I think that, you know, eventually will lead to an appreciation for, you know, understanding sort of your food system and where we get food and how it arrives at your plate.
Right. Well, and as we talk about this, like, so neither one of us right now have like teenagers,
right,
or any of that. But like, what are you projecting for the future? Like, where do we see? What do we think? I mean, like, I'm trying to think with mine. Like, I hope that by now, by going for the hikes and going for the walks and playing out in the yard, I hope that she will be the type who will do the same. You know, for fun, go for a walk through the woods.
I'd say, you know, at least she's been exposed to it and she has that option and knows about it, and it's not something that's, you know, foreign.
Right. She doesn't necessarily expect that all entertainment comes from the television.
Right.
Or, as we say on a television show, like, this seems wrong, sorry.
And I think you definitely get that from your parents. Like, my parents definitely encouraged us to play out in the woods and play outside a lot. And, you know, I wasn't given lots of, you know, tasks like go do this, you go do that.
Right.
You know, it's lots of free time. But at the same time, I did have lots of chores to do.
Right.
And so, you know, helping out is an important part of being part of a family or
Right.
part of a community, and appreciating that, I guess.
Well, yeah, and as you talked about that earlier too, with our community values, participating in that. So you mentioned that you guys have a market garden. So going out and getting to see like everybody else at the market and other families coming to the farmers market.
Yeah.
You get to see more of that. You get to see all the different people, not necessarily all growers and are the same type of family, but other other ones coming in involvement.
Good experience. I mean, we're not actually doing the farmers market now that I've started my website, Pick a Pepper, but when they were younger, we were, and for sure, I think it was a interesting experience for them, for sure.
Okay, so I have to ask you really quick,
Okay.
like, what is Pick a Pepper?
Okay.
Sorry, it might not be green parenting, but it's the business for the child.
So it's a national website, but
Okay.
it's an online marketplace for people to buy and sell local produce.
Okay.
So you go to the website, you enter your zip code, and then you'll see all the people in your area that are selling food locally.
Okay. And
And
who's it for?
It's for anybody.
Okay.
So you don't have to be a full-time professional farmer or anything.
Okay.
You can be a backyard gardener. You can be a rancher. You can be a farmer.
Okay.
But it's a free place for you to post your things. So
Okay.
the idea behind it is that, like, especially restaurants, schools, families, people will be able to buy from multiple vendors in their
Okay.
area at one time,
Okay.
and then have stuff delivered or picked up. They can go pick it up. It's sort of, there's like the option of setting up a CSA without having the commitment to
Okay.
it,
So more of like, when you talk about a child liking one thing and then not liking it the next week,
Yeah.
or vice versa.
Yeah,
So like,
right.
let's say that my daughter really likes carrots this
Yeah.
week. You can get carrots
Yeah, so like
from
for
local.
right now, my farm is red buds, and right now I have for sale sprouts and eggs and wood and plants from my garden and stuff
Okay.
like that. And I can change it whenever I want, and if I sell out, then my item disappears. It's sort
Okay.
of like, maybe envision it as like an Etsy or something, but for farmers.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay. Well, no, and that's cool too, because you also
Yeah.
get to show your children, like, hey, this is what I do, and I feel very strongly in the growing of
Yeah.
this, and I'm also helping others.
Yeah, and they don't really understand like the whole like internet world, of course.
Right.
But they
But they probably will
they
sooner
know
than
that
we
we're
would.
growing. I know they know that we're growing food for not just for ourselves, but for other people.
Right.
And I think that they kind of get that.
Yeah. Well, no, when you say that, like, don't really understand the internet world, one of the things that I also get into the discussion with is that by doing sustainable, by encouraging my child to play outside and doing a lot of these and whatever, I don't want to at the same time set her up for a disadvantage in life, because if we do go, I want to have the appreciation, because if we do go into a more technology-driven world,
Which we will, I'm sure.
right, like by doing stuff like that, like they're still familiar with. They see
Yeah.
that as a tool to use, but not
Yes.
necessarily the reason for living.
Right. And there's definitely like a fine line there too.
Right, right. It becomes hard because you don't want to put them at a disadvantage, but at the same time, you want to make sure that they understand like the appreciation of like what is this earth
But
we
I
are
think
on.
at this time, like in the young formative years or
Right.
whatever, there's really no need to even
No,
go there.
she doesn't need to have an iPad right now.
No,
at
she
18
really
months.
doesn't.
No.
I
No
mean-
matter how much she asks. No, I'm just kidding.
But I mean, obviously they're gonna know what stuff is, and
Right.
they want to watch TV, and they want to
Right.
watch movies or whatever.
Right.
But
I think that comes down to then, as they do get older and it is more like acceptable for that, then it's all like the whole moderation is key.
Right.
It's kind of like, the chocolate eggs that I have in my bag.
I mean,
Moderation is key.
I just hope that it's more fun to go play outside and explore and
Right.
be creative.
And maybe utilize that technology as a tool to get others
Right.
to appreciate it.
Yeah,
Or to take
and
advantage of
that's
it.
kind of where I'm going with the website is it's giving people like this platform
Right.
to buy and sell things. So they're still I'm promoting like this local food system
Right.
nationally,
Right.
but at the same time, you're also using technology to do it.
Right. Well, yeah, you're just utilizing it as a tool, and it's not necessarily the end all be all for it.
Right.
No, I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things, like we've got just a couple minutes left,
Yeah.
some of the like advice you give friends when they're just starting out and have kids, you know?
I think the main thing is just to be okay with trial and error. Just,
Very true.
you know, not thinking that you have to do anything a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're the parent and you know what's best.
Right.
And you go figure it out.
Right.
I mean,
very good.
you
Very
know,
good.
you just kind of have to go with the flow of it day to day.
And go and
I
just
think
have,
having a routine, though, is probably one of my biggest things being a parent, is that I think kids really rely on that. And,
I would agree.
you know, just having sort of even if it doesn't have to be like exact the same every day, but, you know, just having a specific order to the day so that kids know what to expect. Because they don't know what to expect otherwise, really.
Right, they're taking their cues from you, kind of
Right.
like your lead by example, but
Yeah.
also like help set the stage so
Yeah,
that
and that's the other thing, is just to lead by example. And if you have values that you want to instill in your kids, then the best way to do that is to teach them through doing.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's perfect. I couldn't ask for anything more. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having
I really
me.
appreciated
Yeah.
it. So yeah, if anybody has any information or questions on things, we've got your site, pickapepper.com, for the farm questions about things, and then also Daniel Boone National or Regional Library.
Yep.
We talked about, and the Lend and Learn Library, which I forgot what their website was. I think we'll have it put up on the screen and it'll be useful. But I
Yes.
think they're open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays.
From
like
10 to 1.
10 to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, any other things. There's also diaper questions out there. And so, awesome. Well, that was great. Thanks.
Thank